Over the years, the criminalization of politics in India has accelerated at an alarming rate, endangering the survival of Indian democracy. Because the problem is so serious, the Supreme Court has also issued a number of historic rulings to deal with it. Although the judiciary must take stronger action, fighting against this criminalization of politics and defending the nation's democracy is not just the judiciary's responsibility. It also falls on the government and the country's citizens. In a democracy, each citizen chooses their own representative who is subsequently in charge of governing the country. India is a democracy. It is essential that persons who enter politics have a solid reputation and moral beliefs for this reason. Currently, the criminalization of politics is a dreadful reality and a concern for Indian democracy. It is more dangerous than terrorism. Our forebears struggled for our independence 70 years ago, and during that effort they had a dream, but we now witness that dream being shattered. This criminality of political parties is caused by the connections between criminals and politicians, which has resulted in the corruption of our leaders and heroes. Democratic ideals in public life have been steadily eroding as a result of the criminalization of politics. The nexus becomes particularly dangerous as the political element combines with the criminal components, endangering the nation's growth and progress. Criminalizing political activity is a worrying development for the smooth operation of Indian democracy. Due to its active involvement in politics, the influence of the criminal element in politics is expanding. India might smugly assert that it is the largest democracy in the world, but it cannot make the claim that it is the most renowned democracy of flawless representation. The number of candidates with criminal cases has steadily and unabatedly increased over the years in elections for state assembly and for parliament. Recently, the Association for Democratic Reforms, ADR, has revealed that the number of candidates with criminal cases has increased in all major political parties in Karnataka ahead of the 2023 assembly elections. According to data from the ADR, since 2004 there have been more candidates elected to the Indian Parliament who had criminal accusations against them. In 2004, 24% of lawmakers had active criminal cases. By 2019, that number had increased to 43%. According to a petition submitted in February 2023. Since 2009, there has been a 44% increase in the number of MPs having declared criminal cases. In the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, 159 MPs have significant criminal cases against them in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, including rape, murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, and crimes against women. Reasons for the criminalization of politics. Politics in India has been criminalized for a number of reasons. These explanations shed light on the rationale for India's criminalization of politics. Basically, these reasons must be recognized to analyze the rise of political criminalization. The following are reasons for making politics illegal. Vote bank. One of the most compelling arguments for the criminalization of politics is the vote bank. To win elections, every politician requires a strong base of supporters. Therefore, the politicians may get in touch with someone with a criminal record or someone with greater influence. Political parties spend a lot of money on obtaining votes and other unethical activities. Political crime is a result of the connections between politicians and these criminals. Corruption. Corruption is the second most significant factor contributing to the growing criminalization of politics. The political leader does not fairly use his influence to win elections. In India, corruption has become an issue in every area and a barrier to the nation's development. Unfortunately, political leaders themselves are implicated in corruption cases, despite the fact that the governance and political sectors bear a significant portion of the blame for the nation's progress. Lack of governance. The lack of effective governance in the nation is the next factor contributing to the criminalization of politics, which is on the rise. On the one hand, India uses a lot of procedures to let the bureaucracy intrude into people's everyday lives, while on the other it seems that there is not enough employees to carry out its most important duties. Muscle power. The most important factor is muscle power in the criminalization of politics. Because politicians always need a certain amount of force to have an impact on the public. These physical assets support the politicians in all of their field tasks, including rallies, vote banking, public gatherings, etc., due in large part to their capacity to finance their own elections and contribute significant money to their respective parties. Candidates with questionable pasts appear to perform well, despite their reputations. Effect of criminalization of politics. In the Indian system, the criminalization of politics has a number of effects. The country's development is the main impact of the criminalization of politics. 1. Against the principle of free and fair elections, it is apparent that the competing parties would employ force and money to broaden their support base if politics were made illegal. Politicians frequently bribe residents of deprived areas and slums with cash and alcoholic beverages. This helps the politicians to win a sizable number of votes. Because people from the slums lack the literacy needed to distinguish between the right and incorrect political party, they tend to vote for those who offer them bribes. 2. Affecting good governance, it would undoubtedly have an impact on the phenomena of good governance if the party in power had representatives who were chosen by buying votes and via other illegitimate methods. The term good governance describes the standard by which public organizations manage and perform their business. However, it would virtually be impossible if lawbreakers were given the authority to uphold the law. The government would be less effective in meeting the expectations of the populace. 3. Affecting the integrity of public servants, the work of public employees is likewise impacted by the criminalization of politics. Black money tends to circulate more during election seasons, which encourages corruption in society and interferes with public workers' ability to do their jobs. 4. Causes social disharmony, it has an effect on social harmony by introducing a culture of violence, creating a poor example for young people to follow, and eroding public confidence in democracy as a form of government. In conclusion, addressing the criminalization of politics in India is crucial for safeguarding the integrity of the country's democratic institutions and promoting good governance. It requires concerted efforts from all stakeholders, including the government, political parties, civil society, and the public to ensure that criminals do not continue to wield power in the political arena. Any government that targets and is successful in eradicating this grave terrorism of the criminalization of politics from the Indian democracy would be bestowing the greatest gift. At the same time, our court system must take a position and combat this before it destroys the nation's democracy. The judicial system cannot wait any longer for a reluctant Parliament to enact robust legislation to achieve decriminalization of politics. Otherwise, this terrible act of political terrorism will seriously jeopardize the foundation of our constitution.